Growing up, did any of you watch The Addams Family on TV? Or maybe seen the new series Wednesday? Yeah? There were two movies that came out in the early 90s based on the original TV series. In the second movie, the Addams kids, Wednesday and Pugsley, are shipped off to a summer camp where, for some reason, at the end of a very hard summer, they put on a Thanksgiving play. You know, as you do at summer camp. Wednesday ends up with the role of Pocahontas, who of course was not at the first Thanksgiving, but that was kind of the point. The play was overtly racist and terrible. In order to get back at rotten camp counselors to speak up for Native Americans, and because of her family's penchant for violence and mayhem, Wednesday rewrites the end of the play with the help of her brother, so that in their version, the children playing the Native Americans overthrow the Pilgrims and basically burn down the set of the play. There is mass pandemonium with parents, children, and staff just running around. Everything's on fire. They're all panicking. And I think of this scene every Thanksgiving for a few reasons. First, although violence is not the answer, it is very satisfying to see an interpretation of the Thanksgiving story that is so spectacularly bad and racist literally go up in flames. And second, when I think of the Norman Rockwell-esque table that's upended, the film helps us to remember that the first Thanksgiving was not a Hallmark moment. And finally, I think that for so many of us, we put so much time, effort, and emotional energy into the holidays that we might feel like we're running around on a stage and the set is burning down around us. Even rewatching that little clip yesterday felt cathartic. The practice of feasting and celebration of harvest and the turning of the seasons is common in cultures around the world. When you think about the Thanksgiving holiday, what images come into your mind? Just take a moment and think about what pictures are there for you. Some folks may be away from or estranged from family. Time with family may be a blessing or a struggle, or both. Your house may feel full or empty. You may be schlepping across town or the country or hosting a million relatives. You may be making lists of food to cook or imagining piles of dishes to be washed. You may be worrying about this month's grocery bill or who is going to say what at dinner. What images are in your mind? Thanksgiving can be about a problematic American mythology. It can be about excess and stress. It can also be about gratitude and connection. Gratitude as a practice is about changing our internal world, our own mind and heart, reframing our experience. It's a practice to change ourselves, not others. It can help us consider a situation with new eyes and to know ourselves better, to help us examine why we do what we do and listen to our inner voice. Gratitude is not a function of how much we have or don't have, but a recognition of how connected we are to all that is, to our collective past, present, and future. I've been engaged in a daily practice with a colleague and friend for the last 5 years, and for some reason I don't think I've ever talked about it in a sermon before, so today is that day. Back at the Unitarian Universalist General Assembly, our annual meeting, back in 2018, I had my 40th birthday with colleagues in Kansas City, and someone who I'd been friends with in seminary came to me with a proposal. She and I had been friendly with shared classes and experiences. We both entered straight out of college and were 2 of the 15 people under 35 at seminary. And we helped each other out with dealing with some of the nonsense that came our way because of that. But we didn't really know the details of each other's lives. She let me know about some other colleagues who had formed reflection pairs and found it incredibly helpful. They met every morning on the phone, and would I be interested? She thought the fact that we had some background together but weren't already close friends might make us the perfect match for a project like this. I said yes, and we figured out a model which we have practiced ever since. We talk every weekday morning, unless we're on vacation, usually for about 15 minutes, but longer if we need it. We check in about our days, talk through challenging work or personal problems, and then set an intention for the day and share a gratitude. Sometimes what I'm grateful for just trips right off my tongue. And sometimes I'm tired and grumpy or feeling put upon, and I have to work really hard at finding something to share. And that is when I need this practice the most. There's always something to be grateful for, right? When I stop to search for that thing, there's something that happens internally. I may flip through in my mind a whole bunch of stuff that's really challenging me, which helps me name those things and note their impact on my well-being. And then I remember the smell of coffee in my cup, or the fact that Tad made a warm fire that morning, or that my dog is the best. And I can feel an opening in my chest. And I can then usually think of a number of things to lift up in gratitude. If I didn't have this practice, that opening probably wouldn't happen. I would just drive the whole way to work being grumpy. I wouldn't remind myself to do it, and I would stay stuck. And as a wonderful outgrowth, we've formed this incredibly important relationship of support and friendship and care. Other than my husband, she's probably the person walking this earth who knows me the best. So let's pause for just a moment and try a little bit of this practice. I invite you to take a few deep breaths and consider something you're grateful for in this moment, little or big, and hold that in your mind as you breathe. Holding that, I now invite you to consider what you might set as an intention for yourself in the coming week. It can be, again, big or small, but something about how you want to frame your experience as we come to the Thanksgiving holiday. Let's breathe again and think about an intention as we go forward into this week. Now, if you want to hold the gratitudes you thought of to yourself, that's totally great. But if you feel comfortable, I invite you to call them out in the room and on Zoom. On Zoom, you can just unmute. And the ones that are in the room, I'll repeat back into the microphone so everybody can hear. Or you can type them in the chat, and Kenny, if you wouldn't mind reading them if they appear there. Great. All right, so what kinds of things came up that we were grateful for today? Dialogue? True dialogue. Sharing, what was the second word? Of purpose. This congregation. Oh, thank you. Gratitude for this sermon. Thank you. Yeah. To live in a place that's not engaged in war. Yeah. Kenny. Warm green tea and close friends. Yeah. Giving back. Safety. Friends. Music. Go ahead, Kenny. Beautiful music. And Linda? The friends you made in this congregation. Great, that's a wonderful list. Thank you all. I'm just going to close with a prayer for us all. Spirit of life and love, in the face of violence and fear, in the face of a hurting web of life, in the face of our own personal hurts and grief, we are grateful for one another, for our beautiful earth, for our connection to all that is. With all that we have lifted up in gratitude today in our hearts, may we continue to find hope and opportunities for gratitude in the everyday of living. May we help repair our world. May we live with compassion and love as our guides. So may it be, and amen.